In the beginning of the story, we see a girl named Lily, who is riding her bicycle somewhere when suddenly a pack of dogs starts chasing her. At this point, the story takes us back in time to show why all these dogs are after Lily. Lily is seen playing with her dog, which she has named Hagen, in the park. That's when her mom arrives to take her along. Lily's mom was going to another country for a few days, so she came to leave Lily with her dad. Lily's parents were divorced, which is why she lived with her mom and spent most of her time with her dog, Hagen. Lily's dad was a butcher, and he worked by cutting and selling meat. When he finishes his work and steps out of the shop, he sees his ex-wife and Lily. Lily's mom tells her dad that she is leaving Lily with him for a while. When Lily's dad looks at her, he doesn't feel too good because Hagen, the dog, was standing next to her. Lily's dad didn't like dogs at all, and where he lived, dogs were not allowed. But after seeing Lily's innocent face, he agrees to let Hagen stay with them. Lily's dad brings both Lily and Hagen home with him. When they arrive, the landlord sees Hagen and immediately tells Lily's dad, "You know dogs aren't allowed here, so why did you bring one?" Lily's dad reassures her, "Don't worry. He'll only stay for a few days." That night, while having dinner, Lily feeds some of her food to Hagen, which her dad doesn't like at all. When Lily asks to let Hagen sleep with her, her dad strictly refuses and locks Hagen in the bathroom. Poor Hagen kept barking all night, making it impossible for either Lily or her dad to sleep. Later that night, Lily goes to the bathroom door where her dad had locked Hagen and starts playing music outside. Hearing the music calms Hagen down, and he falls asleep. The next morning, a man from the police station visits Lily's dad and tells him, "You have an unregistered dog, and you need to pay the tax for it." It turns out the landlord had informed the police about Hagen. Lily's dad tries his best to hide the truth and says, "Look, I don't have any dog," but just then, Hagen comes out of the bathroom. Lily watches all of this in secret, fearing that her dad might hand Hagen over to the police. Scared of what might happen, Lily secretly takes Hagen with her to school. Lily hides Hagen in the music classroom, but when the class starts, Hagen hears the noises and comes out. The teacher scolds Lily harshly for bringing a dog to school without permission and sends her out of the class. While she's walking out, she runs into her dad, who had been informed by the teacher about Hagen. He is furious and asks, "Why did you bring this dog to school, Lily? I can't handle this anymore. We're going to take him to the animal shelter, where they take care of animals," but Lily wasn't ready to let that happen. She didn't want to be separated from Hagen and kept trying to explain herself to her dad. Her dad grew angrier and took Hagen out of the car, driving away. Poor Hagen chased after the car as it drove off. Lily begged her dad, "Please don't do this," but he didn't listen and left Hagen behind, returning home. That night, Lily decided to sneak out and find Hagen. She prepared to take some food and go outside, but just then, her dad woke up and said, "I know where you're going, so go back to bed." Meanwhile, Hagen was still sitting at the spot where they had left him, waiting for Lily. But night had already fallen, and Lily didn't come. The next morning, under a bridge, Hagen woke up and saw the body of another dog. He realized that he needed to be careful. If he wandered around like this, he could be killed too. As he wandered through the streets, tired and hungry, he saw a white dog. Hagen followed the white dog to a butcher's shop where many stray dogs were eating scraps of meat. When Hagen tried to join them, the other dogs started barking at him. Hearing the noise, the shop owner arrived and chased all the dogs away. But Hagen didn't leave. He hid inside the shop. The owner, now angry, tried to hit Hagen. Just then, the white dog, whom Hagen had been following, returned and attacked the shop owner. The two dogs escaped from the shop together and ran off. Hagen and the white dog eventually arrived at an old, deserted place where many stray dogs like them had gathered, living in the abandoned streets. Hagen watched as the stray dogs in the market were playing in the water. He tried to join them, but they all started barking at him, so he went back to sit next to the white dog, who was the only friend he had. The next morning, dog catchers arrived and captured all the dogs that had barked at Hagen. Hagen and the white dog barely managed to escape. Two men noticed Hagen, and at first, it seemed like they were good people. Hagen started walking toward them, but then the white dog began barking loudly. Hagen realized that the men wanted to capture him, so he quickly ran away. The men chased after them, and during the chase, Hagen and the white dog got separated. Hagen tried to find a place to hide, and eventually, an old man sitting by the roadside spotted him. The old man hid Hagen. Meanwhile, Lily's dad dropped her off at school and told her that she needed to apologize to her music teacher. Lily muttered a quick sorry and assured her dad that she wouldn't look for Hagen anymore, but deep down, she still loved him. After school, she set out on her bike to find Hagen. She put up posters everywhere, but there was no sign of him. On the other side, The old man who had found Hagen sold him to a hotel owner. This hotel owner was actually a dog dealer who sold dogs for a living. He had many dogs like Hagen tied up inside the hotel. The old man took his money and left Hagen with the dealer. A short while later, a man came to the hotel to buy a dog. The dealer showed him some dangerous dogs, because this man ran a fighting club where dogs fought and people placed bets on the fights. The man noticed Hagen and liked him. The dealer said, "Look, this dog isn't strong or ferocious enough for your fight club," but the man insisted on buying Hagen. He paid the dealer and took Hagen home, drugging him to keep him calm. The man began feeding Hagen all sorts of protein-rich foods to make him stronger and regularly beat him to turn him into a fierce dog. He wanted Hagen to be a deadly fighter. After days of harsh training, Hagen transformed into a ferocious dog. His teeth became sharp and he was ready to fight. Meanwhile, we see Lily, who is still searching for her dog, Hagen. She approaches a lady who runs an animal shelter and asks if Hagen is there. The lady responds, "No, he hasn't come here. But dogs wandering the streets are usually either captured or killed. Your dog is probably dead by now." While Lily is talking to the lady, someone steals her bicycle, forcing her to walk home. On the other side, Hagen has been trained and brought to a fight club. In this club, 2 dogs fight until one of them dies, and the surviving dog is declared the winner. People place bets on these fights, and the dog owners profit from them. Hagen is pitted against a black dog, and within moments, he kills the other dog. Seeing this, the man who brought Hagen is very happy. Another man offers to buy Hagen, but his owner refuses, leading to a fight between the 2 men. Suddenly, the lights go out, and Hagen takes advantage of the situation to escape. Meanwhile, Lily, whose bicycle was stolen, meets a classmate on the road who is heading to the club. She asks him to take her along, saying, "Please take me with you. I don't want to go home. I'm really upset because my dog is missing at first." The boy refuses, but then remembers that he has some drugs with him that Lily could help sneak inside. So, he gives her the packet of drugs, which she hides in her pocket. As they enter the club, everyone is searched, except for Lily because she's just a little girl. Once inside, Lily gets separated from the boy, and seeing others drinking, she starts drinking as well. She soon passes out. The next morning, the police find her and take her with them, as they discovered the drugs in her pocket. At the police station, they run a drug test, but it comes back negative. After a while, her dad arrives at the station. Seeing Lily, he breaks down in tears and says, "Last night, I was so scared. I thought I had lost you. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have taken Hagen away from you. You can keep the dog, or we can get another one." But Lily responds, "No, Dad. I don't want any other dog." She smiles and happily goes home with her dad. Meanwhile, we see Hagen, who has escaped from the fight club and returned to the small pond where he finds his old friend, the white dog. Together, they search for food. They were still searching when suddenly the dog-catching team arrived. They captured Hagen and the other dogs and took them to an animal shelter where all the dogs were kept. When people came to the shelter to adopt dogs, a girl liked Hagen and was about to buy him, but then Hagen attacked her. He bit her. And seeing this, the shelter owner decided to isolate Hagen from the other dogs. Meanwhile, Lily is shown at her school, where a concert was being held, and she was participating in it. Her dad was also there. Back at the shelter, a worker was trying to transfer Hagen to another cage, but Hagen slipped out of his hands, and his leash came off. Hagen attacked the worker, biting his neck and killing him. Afterward, Hagen freed all the other dogs by unlocking their cages. The dogs were now free, and they followed Hagen, treating him as their leader. When the shelter owner tried to stop the dogs, she fainted and fell to the ground. The dogs spread throughout the city, causing panic. People were terrified and ran in all directions. The dogs, in their hunger, began attacking people's belongings. Because of this, the entire city went into lockdown. Some of the dogs also made their way to Lily's school, where the concert was happening. The dogs surrounded the area. Seeing them, Lily suspected that Hagen might be among them. As she moved forward to check, her friend tried to stop her but couldn't hold her back. He even gave Lily his bike so she could go search for Hagen. When Lily went outside looking for Hagen, many dogs began chasing her, recreating the scene we saw at the beginning of the story. Now, we understand why the dogs were chasing Lily. However, they didn't harm her and eventually moved on. Hagen then arrived at the hotel where his previous owner, the man who sold him to the fight club, was staying. Hagen wanted revenge on everyone who had caused him pain. Suddenly, a group of dogs appeared and attacked the hotel owner, biting and killing him. Lily, who was following Hagen, also reached the scene, and the police arrived shortly after. The police assumed that Lily had ordered her dog to kill the man, so they detained her. But Lily managed to escape from the police. As she was running, Lily overheard that the police were planning to shoot Hagen and all the other dogs. Determined to save Hagen, she rushed to the butcher's shop, but when she arrived, she saw that Hagen had already killed the butcher, the same man we saw earlier in the story. In the beginning, we saw the man who wanted to kill Hagen, and now even Lily realized that Hagen was taking revenge on all those who had hurt him. Lily started worrying about her dad, because it was her father who had taken Hagen away from her. She quickly called her dad and told him everything, as he too had hurt Hagen. Meanwhile, Hagen reached the man who had turned him into a bloodthirsty dog by forcing him to fight in the fight club. Hagen, with the help of his fellow dogs, brutally killed the man, and then they all ran away. The police were now shooting the dogs one by one. At the same time, Lily found Hagen's friend, the white dog, who led her to Hagen. Lily followed him, but the police shot the white dog on the way, despite Lily pleading with them not to. They didn't listen to her and killed the white dog. Devastated, Lily returned home, where she saw the dead landlady and understood that Hagen must have killed her too. Lily was now anxious, fearing that her dad might be Hagen's next target. She rushed out to find her father, who was also preparing to face the dogs by gathering some weapons. In the alley, a pack of dogs surrounded Lily. She tried talking to Hagen, but he was barking at her. Hagen no longer saw Lily as his friend because she had broken his trust and abandoned him. Just as Hagen was about to attack Lily, her father arrived with a flamethrower, trying to scare the dogs away with fire. But instead of being frightened, the dogs grew angrier and barked even more fiercely. Seeing this, Lily pulled out her trumpet, the one she used to play for Hagen, in an attempt to calm him down. As soon as the sound reached their ears, all the dogs sat down. Lily's father realized that everyone was safe now. Lily sat down too, just like the dogs, and she and Hagen stared at each other. This story shows us that dogs form deep emotional bonds with humans and remain loyal to them. Dogs are truly faithful creatures, and thus, after all the hardships, Hagen finally received Lily's love. And with that, the story of this film comes to an end.